If we ever got another horror mashup like Freddy vs. Jason, what would y'all want to see? I mean, Pinhead versus Michael? Chucky versus Leprechaun? Shoot, maybe even Hannibal versus Jigsaw. What's good, spooky gang? It's your boy Tech. Welcome back to Terror of Tech. I hope y'all having a blessed day. Now, before we begin this video, I just want to tell y'all that I appreciate all the love and support that the channel is getting thus far. We're closing in on 300 subs now on our road to 1K subs, so just want to say that I appreciate y'all. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Listen, at the end of the day, I do it for y'all, because everybody loves some good horror content, so I'm just trying to spread them spooky vibes all across the globe. So definitely hit that subscribe button, like the video, and let's get this thing rolling. Y'all comment down below what are some horror mashups or like matchups that y'all would like to see. For instance, when I think back to Freddy vs. Jason, although it was a pretty good movie overall, we definitely got to see that good bit of action and pretty much a lot of things that we have been waiting to see for a very long time. But the issue is the fact that we had to wait so long. So like that movie coming out in 2003, that should have been a movie that dropped in like 86 or 87, 88, somewhere in that range where, you know, both of these icons were at their height. Everything would have been much better. The 80s aesthetic would have been better. Like I said, just from a horror fan perspective, the energy, the atmosphere, and the attention that this movie would have brought would have been crazy. It probably would have went nuclear if it dropped in like the mid to late 80s. So that's really the big thing that movie really missed on. And then plus, you could have had somebody like Kane Hodder in the role. Like, I think Prison Girl was fine, but still, the point is, they just missed out on what could have been something completely epic. So going back to some matchups that may work in the future, you know, some matchup that I think will actually, where each of these matchups brings together each of the horror icons, you know, unique attributes and just like different narratives or encounters that will probably make for a good horror movie. So let's go ahead and dive into some of those right now. First matchup that I think will actually be pretty good is Freddy versus Pinhead. So there's this element of this dream versus reality aspect. Obviously we see conflicts between that in the Nightmare on Elm Street films, but there's also that aspect in Hellraiser as well. And you know, Freddy Krueger being the dream invading killer against somebody like Pinhead, who is the leader of the Cenobites from Hellraiser, which sort of manipulates reality and pain. So I think like both characters employ different psychological terrors, manipulating their victims and their will from their fears and desires. So their clash and the battle of their minds would already be a pretty good little setup, you know, just seeing how they strategize against each other from that aspect. And then just the aspect of, you know, the visual spectacle of Freddy's twisted dreamscapes colliding with, you know, Pinhead's hellish torture realm, where you can only imagine, like, through imagery and like special effects and things of that nature that they would be able to create for the setting and a matchup between these two. So that's why I think that this one would be dope for sure. Another one that I wanted to talk about briefly, just because everybody and their mama has already mentioned this before, but of course everybody would want to see a Michael Myers versus Jason matchup. To me personally, yeah, as a horror fan, you want to see that only from the aspect of Michael Myers and Jason fans have been at each other's necks for the longest. I mean, yeah, there are a select few people out there who like truly appreciate both and aren't just like a pure fanboy of either side, but really that's the only reason why anybody would want to see that matchup together, is just to see finally at the end of the day who's stronger, Michael Myers or a Jason. You know, obviously it's been clear as day that I'm team Michael Myers all day, but still, from the aspect, I respect both sides, and I think, you know, just from a pure fight perspective, it might be okay. Anything outside of that is going to be boring because neither one of them talk. So there's that aspect where it's just going to be the silent killer Super Bowl. Like, I mean, I don't think anybody is really trying to sit there and watch that, and then you're trying to combine storylines and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily think that would be the best matchup for movie sake, but just for the pure aspect of, oh, I just want to see who's gonna be the top dog out of that. Then that's really all we'll be getting out of that. So another one that I wanted to mention is Chucky versus Annabelle. So this one was pretty interesting to me, with both of them being killer dolls and being possessed by malevolent forces. It'd just be a battle that goes back to every child's nightmares. Pretty much everybody was scared of dolls or at least some point in their life, just because of Chucky and you know, now with the Conjuring universe and Annabelle, they've done very well in terms of making her seem terrifying as well for a newer generation. So just the different tactics, because Annabelle doll as a conduit doesn't do much, but just the force behind it is significantly powerful. And then you compare that to things that Chucky would do and the way he strategizes. So that would be kind of wild, but that would probably just be something that would just be cool to see for sure. Another one that I think would actually be really good is a Leatherface versus Ghostface. So you'll have this element of brute force versus a level of intelligence. Both characters have unique masks and they symbolize their own unique brands in horror for sure. They both were involved in the slasher evolution, with Texas Chainsaw being pretty much one of the very first slashers the way we know them today. And then you have revolutionized it in the 90s, you know, giving it a different change of pace and a different perspective of being able to look at horror movies. But them two specifically as killers themselves, it would just be interesting to see it. The only thing that would be tricky about it is the setting aspect of it. So where would you rather see a Leatherface in Woodsboro, or would you rather see Ghostface in Texas? Like, that's the only thing about it. So I mean, you see Ghostface running around in that Texas heat, his ass gonna pass out or something, or seeing Leatherface in suburbia. So that's the only thing that would be sort of tricky about it. But just seeing the two strategies and the way that they would go about each other, I think that would be a pretty interesting matchup for sure. And like I mentioned in the intro, Hannibal versus Jigsaw would actually be a pretty decent matchup. When we're thinking about from an intellectual standpoint, that's essentially what this battle is. It's all, that chess level strategy of, oh, how can I outsmart you and how can I think 3, 4, 5, 6 moves ahead? I think that's the aspect that will make this matchup the most interesting. Both characters challenge their victims' morality and ethics, albeit in different ways. Hannibal's psychological games and Jigsaw's morality test would create, a really complex narrative exploring the darkest corners of human nature, if we're being honest. And then just, so overall, I just think this would be a really cerebral duel. Just one where if you have writers for a movie like this, then there really has to be so many different layers to a movie like this because of from an intellectual aspect. For either one to really come out as a winner and it still be a good movie, everything will have to tie together beautifully, and like I said, it had to be really deep in layers. But I think that this would be a really solid matchup for sure. Another matchup that I think will be good is the Creeper versus Predator. When we're thinking from predatory instincts, off rip, you know that's essentially what this matchup is. The Creeper and the Predator are both hunters who stalk their prey. The face-off will highlight their predatory skills, obviously, and creating an intense battle of tracking and combat. And the Creeper's ability to regenerate and choose specific body parts, and combined with Predator's advanced technology and hunting prowess, and I think overall it would just make for a very visually appealing movie. Both of them are definitely OP in different ways. Both of them are essentially survival horror movies. So, the survival aspect be the main driver of the movie, and having characters use their environments and abilities to gain the upper hand, that's what will make this movie pretty dope. One of the last matchups that I wanted to mention is Ash Williams versus Herbert West. The Evil Dead franchise versus Reanimator. Their confrontation would be a blend of like action horror and science horror. So then you have Ash's battle against the undead, but then you have Herbert West's obsession with reanimating the dead. So then you had that clash for a storyline I actually think would dang near be perfect to blend in. So really for a director or for story writers, you just have to get the auxiliary portion of it correct. All the other outside miscellaneous parts, because like storyline wise, I think that almost blends perfectly together. So I low-key think that would be a banger for sure. But that's all I got for y'all, Spooky Gang. Like I said, comment down below what you think some good horror icon mashups will be. Like I said in the intro, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the kid. We're on the road to 1K subs. With each video we put out, we keep getting closer and closer and closer to the goal. So, hey, we're just gonna keep pumping this content out. But like I said, I appreciate you guys. Comment that down below, and I'll get with y'all next time. Stay spooky.